make a little bit more money. But so we work very much at the starting edge, and that's where I guess today we can come and launch the Procedure platform here in the Philippines and know that it does work, that it does scale, that it does deploy very, very easily. And finally, from an onboarding perspective, it's an easy tool to understand. The whole product is accessible via the web, so you simply need Internet Explorer to be able to access the product. We have two choices of deployment, in the sense that you can either have your own payroll tool within your organisation to be running your payroll function, or of course we have a full outsourced capability here locally as well. So you have the choice of how you wish to utilise the system. From an onboarding perspective, it's a tool that we implement quickly. We measure in a period of weeks rather than in some tools you talk about months or even years of implementation. So it's not unrealistic to expect a 10 to 16 week implementation. So for those people sitting in the room today, we could have you on the Procedure platform in just a few months' time. So it's a tool that allows you to very quickly deploy and become operational. It is as I mentioned earlier, it is an integrated platform, and this is really quite unique, particularly from an outsourcing sense. In the concept of outsourcing payroll has been around for many, many years, but typically it is exactly that. You collect the data, the raw data, the times that people work, and then your old-fashioned outsourcing, wherever it happens to be, in a cave somewhere, they do whatever they do, and an outcome is that people get paid. That's not necessarily what we do. We can certainly provide that payroll outcome for you, but above and beyond that, we deploy employee manager self-service so that your employees can log on from home. They could apply for leave, they could do a performance appraisal online, they could change their bank address details, they could print out a pay slip. Again, managers throughout the country, they can be at home, they could be in the office. One of my colleagues was sending emails in the lift this morning, heaven forbid. But wherever it is that you happen to have internet access, your managers are able to access the tool. So again, they can approve those workflows. They can approve a leave request or a training request or a performance appraisal. They can run a report. They want to run a report to understand who has a birthday this month or what my labour cost is. They're able to do so. And of course, you then have the full HR capability that sits across the top. So that's where you then reach into remuneration and talent management, succession planning, those sorts of tools. So again, old school, old-fashioned outsourcing was about a payroll tool, and in fact there'll be many organisations in the room today who have their complete human resource functions based upon a payroll tool, whether it's outsourced or not, and 37 Excel spreadsheets and 25 filing cabinets. The whole concept of Procedure is that it gives you a single source of truth, a tool that every single employee is able to access. And as Darcy said, and I was a bit worried when he was calling me simple before, I thought he has got me right, but the tool is simple in the sense, like Google or eBay or any other web-based tool, self-service technologies need to be easy to use. And whether you have 200 people in the Philippines or you have 200,000 employees, you want a tool that is intuitive and simple, and like eBay or Google, very, very easy to use. I guess just graphically here, we're just representing the industry base that the Procedure is used today, and you'll see that retail, services, manufacturing, finance, insurances is certainly the core client base of the Procedure platform today. The thing that they have in common is that they're often very complex environments, large employee bases, often many locations. So that's where the Procedure tool really does fit very, very well. The brag sheet, we launched our product in Australia 10 years ago with no clients running the platform. Today, after 10 years, we've built 1,100 clients onto that platform, which is truly amazing. They range from, some of these names, I was talking to somebody in the audience today who was ex-Johnson & Johnson, who are a client of ours. Woolworths we've talked about, Allianz, Siemens, many of the names are global names that you will recognise today. I guess some interesting clients, and I picked a couple from a case study perspective. And let's talk about Amalgamated Holdings. Now, they're an organisation in Australia with about 6,000 employees. They operate a very large hotel chain and also a cinema complex as well. So a huge number of sites particularly with the hotels operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They run the Procedure on-demand tool in its entirety, so their employees, when they start, they use our biometric fingerprint readers to be able to clock in and clock off. They use our labour scheduling tool to enable them to be able to control the cost of overtime. They use, of course, our full payroll engine, our full HR talent management, performance, all of those sorts of areas. I guess the interesting observation that when they implemented our tool many years ago, they had the same size payroll team as they do today, yet they've trebled in employee count. So just demonstrating that the product does deliver efficiency within the organisation. And of course the big element is their ability to be able to control and ultimately reduce labour costs. And they're talking a saving between 2 and 3% from their labour costs by being able to schedule their labour, to be able to control accurately when people start and finish their time. So very, very powerful. And the second case study that I thought I'd talk through is Jetstar, which, as Darcy mentioned, is obviously a regional, low-cost airline, part of the Qantas group, and certainly the fastest-growing section of the Qantas business. But they came to us looking for an integrated people management tool. They wanted an outsourced service, but they're looking for the best quality of service, but at the lowest cost possible. So over the last 6 months, we've actually transitioned their payroll team to Manila, and today all employees that work for Jetstar across the region are paid locally, which is quite amazing. And as Darcy said, and obviously I work through the Australian and New Zealand marketplaces, it's for us one of the most exciting growth elements is our ability now to be able to provide an outsourcing service based from the Philippines, and something that we are expecting to have incredible growth with over the coming months. A little bit of a technology evolution, and I guess this is my hobby horse. I've been a passionate supporter of on-demand or cloud or software as a service type computing for many years, but I guess the technology evolution as we see it was back in the 60s and 70s was all about mainframe technologies. Equipment that would fill this room yet have less power than your normal iPhone today. And that's where technology started, and in fact our organisation, NorthgateArinso, back in 1963, that's where we started. We started building mainframe-based payroll engines. Through the 80s, 90s, and in fact today was the world of client-server technology. You would buy the software, you would load the code on your own infrastructure, you would do upgrades, you would do backups, you would do all of that work and simply utilise the tool. And today where the technology is on demand in the cloud, where you simply access the product. And I guess to me the benefit, and it's like if you go and build a house, and if you go and build a house today, you don't go and build yourself a power plant to give yourself electricity or build yourself a reservoir to store water or your own sewerage treatment. You just simply take those services from the utilities from the market, which is the same thing here with Procedure. So what we avoid is the capital outlay having to buy software. You simply pay for the number of people that you pay. So your business expands or contracts, your costs move appropriately. We do all the upgrades, we do all the backups. You'll see here, and it goes into a fair amount of detail, but fundamentally we have a production and a disaster recovery data centre. All data is replicated, so in the event of an earthquake or a tsunami or whatever disaster in Australia's been struck, in New Zealand's been struck recently, we have the ability to ensure that the data is protected. We support 1,100 clients. We have done so for 10 years. We've never ever missed a payroll because of that technology platform. And in fact, this year to date, and we do operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I think we've had 7 minutes of unscheduled downtime. So it's quite a formidable capability. Of course, there's a huge audit and security expectation that we have with our Sarbanes-Oxley compliance, our ISO accreditation, all of the boxes that you would expect and indeed demand to be ticked, we have done so, which obviously, and of course we need to do given the clients that we support today and indeed the data that we hold for our clients. And probably the last key point is that we run on the IBM iSeries platform, and there are several key reasons for that, but fundamentally it is because it cannot catch a virus. So, I guess in my simplistic terms, if you are going to run a product across the web, then running it on a platform that can't be affected by a virus certainly makes a huge amount of sense. Implementation certainty, this is a key focus for our onboarding team, and I guess we often use examples when we talk to our prospective clients that you can buy the best technology in the world, but if you're partnering with an organisation that doesn't have the skill set, they don't have an implementation process, they don't ask the right question, then inevitably your implementation is going to go wrong and there are going to be issues. So we spend a lot of time and a lot of focus on ensuring that we understand your business requirements. We understand what the tool needs to look like, what it needs to be able to do, and then we work with you during our onboarding phase to ensure we deliver a product that is configured to your business requirements. And as I mentioned before, we do that in a very, very rapid process. It's a phased implementation strategy that we have. We have a very big tool, functionality is very, very broad, so we wouldn't expect that 12 weeks from today that you'd be deploying the entire suite, but we would get payroll and then we'd deploy self-service with our reporting and our analytics, etc. So it's all about taking a measured, sensible and controlled approach to a successful implementation. And the last and final piece is that change management element, the risk management, in the sense if we're transitioning a payroll engine, and Darcy mentioned it before, you know, if we're paying 1,000 people, we need to pay those 1,000 people accurately. So we get our onboarding team put a lot of time, a lot of energy to work with you to map out the change and the risk issues, address those as we successfully implement the product. I guess to finish off on my brief presentation this morning, Procedure is a proven tool. It's a tool that's used by many organisations today, and indeed our development and indeed implementation for McCarthy Med is a case in point that it's been completely customised for the business conditions locally, and it's starting to be deployed out amongst the base. The on-demand deployment simply makes sense. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't make sense for people to be buying software anymore and loading and running software. You should just be able to access it through and across the internet. As I mentioned, you can choose to either use the product yourself if you have your payroll team, or we certainly have vast capabilities to provide you with both a payroll and also a HR outsourced service. It's a rapid return on investment. You know, where the investment is low, there's no upfront software license fees, etc. So it does allow us to be able to implement our product in a very cost-effective way, so avoiding, you know, the nasty CapEx environment. The business insight is probably the most critical element, the core concept of having one single source of truth, an integrated people management tool, rather than an outsourced payroll function and the 47 Excel spreadsheets. To actually be able to have that data at hand so your managers can run a costing report or a leave report or any other analytics that they require so they can make informed and sensible business decisions. Reduced labour costs due to rostering and biometric technology. In Australia today, a lot of our clients are chasing the ability to be able to control their labour costs. For a lot of finance people in the room, you